Outstanding. Well, we've got a full family here. And then we'll go ahead and kick this off. So go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's 5 o'clock. And Ashley, are you the one taking roll call today? If
I
you'd be
am.
so
I get the
kind.
pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, we're welcoming Ashley tonight as our recording secretary. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
President Haugley,
Present?
Vice President Spikers,
Here.
Secretary Carter,
Here.
Commissioner Norris,
Present.
Commissioner Herron,
Here.
CEO Jensen,
I am here.
DNE Ralston,
I'm here.
CFO Ritter,
Present.
CSO Moore,
She is excused for tonight.
CMO Storm,
Present.
General Counsel Hauser,
I am present. Thank you.
is Robert Angrisano on the call tonight?
Yes.
Yes, I
And
did see Robert.
Right.
I thought I saw him, and then we do have
Yes, I'm
two
present.
guests. Oh, thank you. And we will have two guest speakers today, Keith Clevin and Frank Cowell.
Excellent. Welcome, everybody.
If
Thank you,
there
Ashley.
are any other guests present, please say your name so we can welcome you properly.
Or you can also just put them in the chat as well.
Oh,
It'll work.
put them in the chat. Okay, thank you.
Very
I
good.
did say we have City Councilwoman with us tonight from Snoqualmie City.
Very good. Welcome.
Kwame.
Is that Catherine?
Yes, Catherine Cotton's with us tonight.
Very good.
Oh.
Very good.
Welcome.
Okay. Let's go ahead and have a motion to approve the board meeting agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make that motion.
Thank you,
David
Dave.
Spiker.
Do I
Okay,
have a
I'll
second?
second.
Okay, Commissioner Herron, thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of approval of the board meeting agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up as customary to public comment. And if anyone would care to make a public comment, we would take that now. Do we have any public comment? And second time, do we have any public comment? And lastly, do we have any public comment this evening? Okay,
Well, now, if there isn't any public comment, I would like to say I have missed all of you. I did, when we have our meetings and even when I decide, oh, I've got to go do that, it's gone. So anyhow, yeah.
Very good.
So
Yep. Thank
anyhow,
you,
so
Commissioner.
I missed you all.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner Norris. You're missed as well. Okay, moving along to our next item is our consent agenda. And do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? And do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Commissioner Herron, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll take a second.
Commissioner Norris, thank you. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, we have a patient story being shared, and we have CNE Ralston to share a story.
We do.
Hello.
I'd love to invite Trish as a regular part of our agenda. She is going to be taking over our patient story for us. And so we will plan to bring a patient or staff story to you at each board meeting.
Outstanding. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you very much. Glad to be here. All right, so this is a story about a stroke patient who arrived to our emergency department. This is about 3 weeks ago now. Came in with his wife at about 5:07 after having a sudden onset of inability to speak at 4:35 that day. And so I'm not sure if you've ever heard the phrase time is brain, but and this is going to be a brief little snippet about the brain, but 1.9 million neurons are lost every minute during an untreated stroke. And that doesn't mean a whole lot unless you know that there's 86 billion neurons in the brain, apparently. And for additional context, without treatment, the brain ages approximately 3.6 years each hour. So just to give some context to the phrase time is brain and how critical it is to move quickly when we get these patients in. So this patient comes in just 32 minutes after their onset of symptoms. So obviously a local person in our community. And part of our role with the community is also to educate people to the signs and symptoms of stroke so that they know to get care very quickly. So the patient came in, they were taken to CAT scan, which is essential for stroke treatment. And that was within 10 minutes of arrival and resulted by 5:30. The Harborview stroke providers do our emergency telestroke consults. And so the team got them on the phone, and clot busting medication was ordered and given to the patient at 5:48 p.m. That medication is known as TNK. So all of that time and all the work that was done was jammed into 41 minutes of time, and the team moving very quickly. So these are remarkable times. I've worked in stroke a long time, and this is exactly how we should be doing stroke treatment and care. And the treatment doesn't always work, but when it does, it's pretty phenomenal. And so patient was successfully transferred to Overlake after getting this medication. They would definitely need to be admitted, and they had just had a stroke. 2 days later, they went home and they were discharged back into their home with his wife. And I think what's most remarkable is now they've come back to us yet again to be seen by our speech pathologist. And I'm happy to report is practically back at their baseline with just a little bit of further treatment needed about once every 3 weeks. And so I just want to call out again our amazing ED team, Jen, nurse, Dr. Schroeder, ED tech Daniel, Larissa, registration, and Zoe. Also Jamie, the speech pathologist, but also we recently had an issue with our telestroke cart, and our IT colleagues got it up and running and fixed in no time at all. And so I just think it's a testament to the team and group effort here that it does take a village and everybody in this organization to make something like that happen. And so that is my story for today. I thought it was a pretty remarkable one and a great, great outcome.
I think that's awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
Does anybody have any questions for Trish? All right, we'll let you off easy. Thank you, Trish.
Very good. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go on to the hub update.
All right. Yeah, so things are going well. We are working diligently, thank you, Ashley, with the city and the permitting process. We had a very lengthy meeting this week with the initial meeting on the comments that came back from our initial application. Commissioner Carter, I heard you. She says, I want to see more renderings. I want to see more pictures. So these are actually snapshots out of some 3D modeling that the architects do. And so this allows us to try different kinds of materials on the side. It allows us to see the magnitude and scope of different things that we're working with. It also lets us real time work with our estimator on the contractor side. So if we're trying to make some value engineered decisions on how do we make it with less glass so that it would be more affordable, or what if we, the city wants us to kind of break the scale down, and so we see these colored fins on the side, so we're testing those out to see if those might help kind of break down that big skyscraper look to it. So we can also walk inside the building as it starts to get built and get kind of a feel of what it might look like. So these are just kind of giving you an idea of some of the tools that we're working with. This is what we, not only do we call the building the hub, but this is the hub of the hub. This is a central place where the community comes together and where you can access all the services. On the left-hand side, the building is divided into more of your clinical services, and the right-hand side is more of your community support elements. Down there where you see that little guy talking, oops, back up one for me there, Ashley, where you see that little guy talking on his cell phone, that's where you would enter into kind of the cafe and coffee area and the climbing wall. And then where the lighter color in the middle of the screen, kind of that through the center, that's where the main entrance to the dining and restaurant will be. Please feel free to ask any questions. So we had a really good review with the city. We have another review with them this coming Monday to go over the ecology. We should have one more submission of our responses to the city, and then we would expect to be very, very close to issuing our initial permits to break ground. We are still on track for groundbreaking with those initial grading permits in May. So a lot of moving parts here, but we are going. This is a glimpse of when you walk in that front door. You can kind of see the coffee shop or coffee stand starting to take place on the right-hand side. Some stairs that go up to the fitness studio and rehab space. And then the clear windows directly in front of you are the entrance to the bouldering wall and climbing wall. And if you go to your left, there is a community room and then some access to the main restaurant. Do we have one more there? Ashley? Okay, yeah. So this is again, these are computer generated, and getting a chance to kind of try out some different materials. This is a glimpse of what a climbing gym type wall would be. And you can see we're using that kind of that pegboard. That's a new modern type climbing material that allows you to have a lot of flexibility in how you put your handholds in. So we're looking at two different types of wall. One is more of a kind of what we call an art wall that looks more rock-like and real, and then this kind of more modern approach. Different pros and cons to those. One is more appealing to climbers because of its versatility. The other becomes more art and has also can change the routes and everything, but it really fits more of kind of the scope of what we're looking for. The other thing that's really cool that you're seeing us try out here is you'll see that horizontal line, that kind of that zigzag line in the middle. We are working with a new vendor. The original vendor, I don't think really understood kind of the vision of what we were trying to accomplish. And this vendor had a great idea that we can make bouldering on the bottom of the climbing wall in addition. So it doesn't just have to be for climbing, that we can have more purposeful area that we can use for people that maybe aren't as interested in doing the top ropes, or maybe even kids that would have more flexibility. So our wall could be used more often, and not only when you have skilled people helping out with the top ropes. So it's kind of a look down version of that one. All right, Ashley, I think we might have one more maybe. Oh, we missed one. Okay, that's okay. That maybe we didn't include it. We have I had one more for you that was a kind of a first look at what we think the restaurant might look like. Let's see if we flip back through, and maybe not. I guess you'll have to wait till next time. So so Jen, there's some good renderings for you just to kind of whet your appetite for what we're working on. Challenges right now continue to just be with overall budget. You're going to hear more about that tonight. There's quite a bit of uncertainty in the federal kind of environment right now that are impacting potentially materials, and with some tariffs. You heard a little bit about that on my North Bend update next. And then, of course, when you put it all in, we have to have reserve accounts, and you have to pay taxes and all a cost of issuance. So all these things, our construction budget is still within our original scope, but when you put it all together, it does add up to be quite a big number. And I'm sure Commissioner Spikers and Haugley will talk to you more about that later this evening when we get to the bond issue discussion. So I would love to entertain any questions. I'm holding out. We do have Dr. Storm is going to give you a little update here in a minute during my CEO report, and we'll tell you a little bit more about some of the pre-work we're doing to get this building busy and active before it's open.
Is this rendering available to the public now?
It could be. It's in the packet, or it's available. It will change. This is, again, these are real-time models, and we are just kind of doing screenshots or snaps of time as we go. This is not an approved siting by the city yet, so it might look a little different, or we might get into the value engineering and things might change. So if with the understanding that it is an evolving process, it would be fine to share this.
Okay. So in the clinical services, which you say on the one side is clinical, the other is community support. What would be in the clinical services? What would be there? It sounds like the things are more community, like the wall climbing and all other stuff. It's much more community involvement. But in the, fun things. But on the clinical service, what is going to be there? I think you did mention a few of them. I can't remember now exactly.
Yeah, I can go through it again, Commissioner Hare, no
Yeah.
problem. And I just want to be really clear. I did not mean to indicate that the building was divided in half of community services and clinical services. It was just that if you are entering the building on the right, you would enter the community space. And if you go to the left, that's how you access most of the clinical. On the clinical side, you've got an entire diagnostic and imaging suite for CT and, or sorry, not CT, that's a future, X-ray and DEXA and mammo, ultrasound, those will all be included. You've got supply chain and shipping and receiving, all of the mechanical part in the bottom of the building. Going up, you have an urgent care, you've got an outpatient pharmacy, or retail pharmacy, and you have a full service lab. So our lab will be growing to accommodate our increased volumes and be able to service more people. Then you have an entire floor that's going to be dedicated to primary care and specialty care. You have a full therapy gym, which will include pediatrics. It'll have some private treatment spaces. It'll have, we call it a yoga studio, but it's more of a fitness studio. It can be used for anything, not just yoga. And then the gym will be integrated into that therapy space. So it'll be able to be accessed by community members, but it will be part of rehab and run by our rehab team. Then moving up, you've got a little bit of support space for billing and finance. You also have some admin, you have some clinical or some support space for staff. So they're, instead of staff lounges being departmentalized, this is all going to be congregated, gated in one spot, so they will share. And then the cherry on top, and literally on the top floor, we have our new outpatient ambulatory operating room. So we'll have 4 ORs, and we plan to open 2 of those upon opening, and then 2 will be grow into space as our programs and services get bigger. So that's a quick brush at it. All those are still what is included in that original summary document that I provided to the board a few months ago.
Okay. It sounds like we have most of the services that we have from our existing building now, and we're just expanding them, right?
No, actually, most of the services are actually net new to us. So these are mostly going to be new revenue generating. The only thing that's existing is a small amount of primary care that's currently in the hospital space that will go into the hub, but it will grow significantly. And it will then include specialty services, which we don't currently have today.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Okay, so I thought that the hub would at least introduce a specialty service, which is not in the planning right now.
Oh, yes. So that there's 20,000 square feet, one entire floor of the hub that is dedicated to primary care, pediatrics, specialty care, you name all the ologies that we can hire. And Dr. Storms can tell you more about that in a minute. Those are all going into the space, including room for surgeons.
Oh, okay.
Good.
All right.
That's
Thank you.
good.
Mm-hmm. And Daryl, I don't know if you recall a conversation we had when I first started, and you told me your dream, when I asked you what your dream for Snoqualmie was, you told me your dream was for us to have orthopedics and orthopedic surgeon. And I told you, I doubt that will be in my career or my lifetime, but I want you to know that we will be having those by the time the hub is open.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so very exciting. I know you've got some great childhood stories of your relationship with your orthopedic surgeon and your doctor and how appreciative you were. So that will be a part of this program.
Yeah. I think I was 14 and with an ambulance coming with me. But I think that's what you need to do, especially with children, you know, if I didn't know what was going on, but so I think that's it. The easier it is for families, for moms and dads, and nurturing them at the same time. So
great, thank you. Anybody else have any other questions for me about the hub and specific things about the project? It's moving along as planned. We're doing well.
I've got some questions, and
Sure.
I had some questions I sent to you, and you've probably been a little bit busy with
Just
everything.
a little bit.
And I'm very excited about this project. But there's some things that have been on my mind, I guess, with some of the costs that are outside of what we originally budgeted. And I know that you said we're still going to be within our budget. Does that mean that we're going to be scaling back on what we're going to be developing?
That's a really, really good question, David. So basically right now we carried a very large owner's contingency in our budget for things that we didn't have a ROM, a rough order of magnitude on, things like infrastructure with the city or this unknown amount of accountability for the traffic light, et cetera. And so right now in the process, we're working with the city on whose responsibility are those things going to be. We're also balancing and navigating that with the purchase and sale agreement. We're also navigating that with fees. And so I know this, it seems like a long answer, but basically there's a lot of things that are moving that I can't answer that with right now, but we do have to stay within that total budget of bond issuance that we discussed with Keith at the Finance Committee meeting. So it's negotiation with the city for credits for fees or work done towards fees. It's the city's capital improvement and which things are in there that should be part of their capital improvement versus our project. So I don't have all those answers. However, the bottom line is, if those unexpected costs exceed what we have in owner's contingency, then yes, we would have to scope back our practices or we'd have to scope back services. One of the ways that we're doing that right now with the project is we're including what we call our alts or alternatives. So we have identified several significant things within the project that we are having bids separately. So they're things that you can add on if the budget will allow, or you deduct if the budget doesn't. So some examples of those things. We would like for the restaurant and kitchen to be able to function on generator power so that if the community is down with power, there's a warm, safe place that they can come and get food. That, in order to do that, would require $500,000 of an upgrade of a generator and switches. And so that is one of our alternatives. Other examples are only doing 2 of the 3 pods for the primary care area. So when we open, we're not going to fill all 3 of those pods to capacity on day 1. And so what we would do is we would only finish out 2, and then we'd do a 3rd one later. Another, I'm trying to think of some others off the top of my head. Oh, two ORs versus 4 ORs if we only build up 2 and then build the others later. The only challenge with these alts is that then it's the site's already mobilized, and then when you have to remobilize those things, there is a cost to doing that and doing them later. So ideally, we'd like to do all these things right away. And then lastly, we're negotiating with the city on some of these things that we might be able to get funding for later. So there's a connection to the trails that is not insignificant in cost, but Steve Wright, director of our foundation, is working on a capital campaign that might be able to help pay for that. And so the city has been fantastic at working with us to say, these are things we're going to require, but we'll allow you to work towards getting those done by the time the project's complete, instead of having to have some of those things done up front. So that is helping us do some fundraising.
Well, I sure would really hate to see some of the services cut back as a result of all of these extra costs, fees, plan reviews. I mean, $600,000 for a plan review, that's outrageous. So that's, to me, it's how many engineers do they have full-time working on that?
They have mostly consultants. They don't have these people in-house. So they're like we do with our architects. They're people that they hire for these projects. But you do have a council member on tonight, so I'm sure she's hearing your words loud and clear.
Oh, I hope she is, because I'm pretty upset about these fees and plan reviews. It sounds like it's almost highway robbery, in my opinion. So I hope we can renegotiate some of these things. The other question I had was the traffic signal. We knew we would have to pay for that. Is that additional? Does that fee, I asked you a question before in the email, does that include the construction of the signal, or?
So so again, remember, there's a lot of moving parts as we go through plan review with the city. And right now we're holding 1.9 million in kind of the owner's contingency for that. There was a lot of, I guess, hearsay on whose responsibility the signal may or may not be. And there was I had heard rumors from previous administration that there were some previous agreements on who would pay for what. However, when we went through the land entitlement process, there is actually no documentation of responsibility of landowners or latecomers for that. The only
Okay.
latecomer agreement that was identified in the title was an amount owed to Snoqualmie Valley Hospital if and when that property was ever purchased. But since we are going to be assuming that, we wouldn't be paying ourselves. So we're holding that traffic signal at a high, kind of very conservative spot so we can make sure that we can afford to do the whole thing. There's also some negotiations with the city on how much curbing actually needs to go in because there's no sidewalks that go anywhere out there. And so it may not be necessary to have as much curbing, which would reduce some of the cost. And then they have their traffic impact fee, which they can give us credit for monies spent on installing that traffic light. They can give us credit towards those traffic impact fees. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there that we have applied for and are negotiating currently. So hopefully that's helpful.
Thank you so much for explaining some of that. I know that it's all in static kind of mode right now. But this project is going to benefit the city so greatly and all the residents. It's going to come back threefold. And that's why I'm not sure why we're getting this kind of information from the city and costs and extra projects and fees attached. So yeah, that doesn't sound right. I mean, especially when we're going to be helping the citizens of the city of Snoqualmie. So it just doesn't seem right.
David, thank you very much for your.
I have a
for your
question, two questions.
Excuse me just a
For
second.
Renee.
Commissioner
Renee, first, I think all the stuff you had mentioned, why it looks like we're having some overruns here. One, specifications of the work that should have been anticipated, I believe. And two is the traffic signal. My understanding was that the city was negotiating to have DOT or the state take over that to help us supplement in terms of the cost for getting involved in that traffic signal. So where are we? Because the last time I believe when I spoke with Catherine, the mayor, way back, I thought that was the point where that was being negotiated to see. So how much obligation do we have now that things doesn't seem to be going that direction?
So I think you've got several questions in there, Emma. The first being overruns. We don't have any overruns at this point. Basically, we didn't carry specific line items because we didn't know the total cost or scope of some of these projects. And so instead, what you do is you carry a very large owner contingency. And then as the scope and budget for these projects is better identified, then you use your owner's contingency to pay for those things. And so we knew there would have to be some sort of traffic control, whether it was a roundabout or a stoplight. We had no idea exactly how much would be our responsibility or shared by the city or others. That particular intersection that the city has identified their desire to have the light at actually has three parties of interest. One is DOT, one is King County, and one is the city of Snoqualmie, all kind of merge on that one little intersection. The King County has kind of yielded to DOT. DOT has yielded to the city of Snoqualmie. So DOT has been consulting and giving input onto the design and location of the light. And then the traffic consultants from our team and the cities have worked together collaboratively to come up with a plan.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And we are also looking for some additional funding to support that. I can't promise any of those things will work out, but because it is such a safety issue and it does relate to traffic control, there are some avenues of resources that we are pursuing.
Yeah, I think that when speaking of funding, I think that's really important to prioritize exactly the needs, the greatest need of our project. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Herron and David Spikers. I think that important to, while we ask our questions, that we remember that so much of this is in fact fluid, and it adjusts almost on a daily basis, and we try to anticipate, obviously, the unanticipated. And so it's appreciate the great questions and the thought behind them. And it's great having Catherine here this evening with us, so she has a firsthand opportunity to hear and witness, certainly concerns that and gratifying comments both ways, really, about the progress that are being made for what is going to be such a great asset to the city.
Yeah, and I want to make sure I'm really clear that the city of Snoqualmie has been very supportive and collaborative. They've made some changes on their team, which have been phenomenal and really helped our project a lot. And they struggle just like we do. I mean, cities don't have endless pits of money, just like hospitals don't have endless pockets of money either. And they've got a lot of infrastructure that they need to continue to support, and nothing is inexpensive these days. And so cities also plan out their capital projects many years in advance, and they're not quite as nimble as a municipality like a hospital. And so they have also agreed that some of the things that were supposed to be later in their capital project list, they're going to move up to be able to support this project and getting it done on time. So although it's frustrating and how much everything costs is hard to swallow sometimes. I just want you guys to know that I do think the city is doing a really good job of trying to be supportive the best they can with their limited resources as well.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Next up is our CEO report. If you're done with the hub update.
Yeah, let's roll right into it. Let's see. Where do I want to start? Give me one sec. I am juggling a couple different board meetings today, so I just want to get there. Let's start with, you know what? Let's start with the North Bend Clinic update. So again, things change quickly. We're not just doing one project, but we're doing two. We are ready to rock and roll in North Bend. Our bids, if you read my report, they came in between the report and now. And we are going to be all in with that clinic, which includes Washington State sales tax, all the projects. We do have to do some digging outside of the building due to some drainage that has to be added because of the clinic. And so anyway, David, I know you're waiting. I'm going to keep you waiting just a little bit longer. I'm just kidding. 1.2 million, I believe it was, or 2.2 million. Sorry, I can't remember. $1 million swing. Sorry. Dick just told me literally 5 minutes before this meeting that the bids all came in. It was within the scope of what we thought. The extra amount that is in there is a tariff fee or a tariff hold. And so if there are additional tariffs, then there will be an additional cost to the project. And so if those tariffs are not put in place, then you'll see the price of that project be reduced. But all of the contractors right now are extremely sensitive to where their project or where their materials are coming from, and how those tariffs may impact their ability to deliver those services for a set price. So we are ready to go. So we've got our bids in. Dick is working with the architects to get those bids awarded and mobilize the site. Our marketing team is getting window clings ready to go so that they can put up coming soon and generate even more excitement in the community. And I'll take a pause to see if there's any questions. And then if there aren't any questions, because I can hardly stand it any longer, I'm going to tee up Dr. Storm to kind of tell you where we are with our recruiting, because as you know, North Bend is one of our strategies to help get the hub up and going and busier sooner, and it's allowing us to hire some additional physicians. And so I'm going to let him share all that news. Any other questions? Okay, Dr. Storm, you are up. Can you give us a recruitment update and share some good news?
Yeah, thank you, Renee. So, recruitment is a process, and it takes time, and there's a lot of strategy, and we really lean on or evaluate the needs assessment, which does show we need more primary care, we need surgery, general surgery, ortho, ENT, specialists, and it's just not realistic to expect that we just onboard everybody when the hub opens. That would be challenging financially and just logistically. And so, North Bend and our current space, what we have available, we're able to kind of bring people on board pre-hub, as we're calling it. And, we're trying to identify specialists and surgeons that make sense, that align with the needs assessment. And we, fortunately, good news, just in the past probably month and a half or two, we have signed and have starting an allergist, immunologist, a rheumatologist or joint specialist, a neurologist, and today, or last night, I should say, signed a sports medicine, family medicine doctor who can do both primary care and sports medicine. And this informs surgery because allergy is medical. We're recruiting for ENT, which is surgery. Those partner well together. ENT is still open, and we hope to fill around the time of the hub. Orthopedics fits with rheumatology and sports med. We are getting ready to extend an offer to an orthopedic surgeon who is very excited and interested in coming on board. And we also have identified a general surgeon, which is also very high on the needs assessment. A general surgeon that does endoscopy and GI procedures in addition to surgery. We're getting ready and prepping an offer to that individual. And so we actually feel very, very confident and positive that we will be able to successfully recruit for the positions that I think we feel we need, that is also supported by the needs assessment and revenue models. It's all looking very good. And if we can bring these people on pre-hub, we go into the new building with a lot of headwind and steam that can carry through and drive revenue and cases. And I mean, provide care to the community, but also, financially makes sense in terms of how we bring these people on strategically. So that's been a lot of work by our entire people and team. That isn't just me recruiting, that's the executive team, our assistants, the rest of our leadership, the providers have all been instrumental. But I think some really great hires, great fits culturally, and are going to be really strong and help support the mission.
And if Dr. Storm is successful with those last two offers that we're prepping now, we are at more than capacity. Dr. Moore is not here tonight, so she's not here to tell you, oh my gosh, there's a lot. But Will Pand and his team have been doing a great job getting as much efficiency out of the clinic schedules as possible to allow us to bring these folks on board. And the North Bend Clinic is just absolutely instrumental in allowing this to happen. So it is definitely doing what it is supposed to, but we're going to be done. There won't be any new docs coming on until we can get that hub open at this point, because we are full capacity. But really, really good news. These are all in the top of our wish list that feed that feasibility study. So some good work there, and I really appreciate Dr. Storm's efforts. Do you guys have any questions for Dr. Storm, either about recruitment or otherwise?
Just a comment. I think if all of that can be fulfilled, we will see a truckload of clients waiting in the waiting room, right?
Yes, Dr. Storm is
really
working.
great.
Yeah, Dr. Storm's working hand in hand with Director Poss in marketing to make sure that we get the word out to the community before they start. And then the operations team is working with the Epic side and making sure those schedules are available. So ideally, we will have patients ready to go and scheduled for them when they start.
Fantastic. So smooth transition and implementation.
So far, that's a lot. Like that many providers for this small of a team is a whole lot. I don't want to underestimate how much work or understate how much work that really is. But I think everyone's excited and everyone's pitching in, and I think they're going to do a great job. Daryl, did you have a question?
Well, yeah, we are seeing an onslaught of houses, new kids, and it's getting really, I think when you go from one set that's the same as the other set, you can get a lot more out of it. So and I think too, when we go and don't know anybody, and then you start realizing what's happening, it at least for us, and we have 2 or 3 houses across the way from us, and then we have the the cemetery that's across from us. But anyhow, so I think you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, Daryl. We are working really hard for you.
Thank you, Daryl.
All right, Dr.
Thanks.
Storm, thank you
Okay.
so much for your update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All right, a couple
you.
more things in my CEO report, but as always, feel free to ask about anything you want. I do want to highlight the champagne brunch is coming. It is on May 3rd. It's we would love to have all of the commissioners there. If you go to our website, you can purchase a ticket or a whole entire table if you'd like. Please bring your friends. We would love it. This year, we are raising money for equipment for our pediatric therapy program. So super cool. We'll have new space that is dedicated to pediatrics fully in the hub. We have a small amount of space now. That program is essential. It's vital. It's growing. Manager Lisa Childress is doing a fantastic job reaching out to the community and supporting these kiddos. So we're excited to be able to offer that as a fundraiser this year. So hopefully you guys can all join us.
If you can't, is there a button on that website to be able to donate specifically for this particular fundraiser?
Yes, heck
Yeah, I
yeah.
would think so.
Yes, if you guys,
Everything
of course, I'll have Director Wright reach out directly to you if you want. But we will, if you go to the foundation page on our website, you can click donate, and there is a place where you can designate where you would like your funds to go to
Good.
support. So.
Great. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay,
Yes,
that's my question. Every year well, this is our second year for our fundraising, and every year we had a purpose, a mission to where the funds would go for this particular fundraising. So, how do you decide where the funds would go for this year's fundraising and establish all that goals that where the funding should go? Because last year we had the mammogram. This year we have the gym for the pediatric. And
Yes,
so my
it's a
question
wonderful
is,
question.
yeah, because I really want to make sure that we have some clarity here for people who are those givers. They want to know exactly. Every year you have do we have to wait and deliver the first goal and then follow up with the second goal, or do we continue to just plug in and putting some projects every year for our fundraising? Because it seems like we have too many fires around that we have to kind of, we're going too fast, too quick. It's wonderful, but I don't want to be derailed, or one day maybe we might, I like to think positive about it, but I need some clarity as well.
Yeah, great. It's a
Thank you.
really good question that I'd love to answer for you, Emma. So there's a couple of different things on fundraising. If it's fundraising that's directly for specific projects for the hub, or if they are congressional asks, those are ones that myself and Patrick are leading. So we kind of put those on the admin side. But what you're speaking about is the foundation. And so the way the projects are chosen from the foundation side is kind of a collaborative effort between the foundation board and the executive team. So the executive team will identify, the foundation might say, we think we can raise funds between $20,000 and $80,000. What kind of capital needs do you guys have that are in that range? And so we will give them a handful of things that we think fit into that fundraising goal range. And then the foundation board will ultimately choose the one that resonates the most with them to raise the funds for. And so last year we chose the mammography, because that was like so many reasons why we chose mammography. And we're very successful with that campaign, and because we were able to get another grant to support the purchase of that mammo machine, that project will be completed and does not need additional funds from the foundation. So that's why we were able to identify a new project this year. And we know that our community has a lot of population of young kids, and there's a lot of need in our community. And so the foundation chose the pediatric gym equipment, one, because it was in the correct range that they wanted to fundraise, and two, because it was meaningful and impactful for our community. So those are how those are chosen. Is that helpful?
How often does the foundation board, because I have not attended any one of them, and I spoke with Steve last time, there is no capital campaign. We're still trying to put it together. So how tight is the ship right now?
Yeah, well, compared to having nothing 2 years ago, I'd say it's looking really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The foundation board meets quarterly, I believe, or more often if needed, which is different than the capital campaign committee. The capital campaign committee is separate. And a capital campaign is a very strategic process that a lot of the work goes on behind the scenes before
Yeah.
you see the public facing campaign. And so right now, the work with the capital campaign is happening behind the scenes. And things like our brunch fundraiser are actually part of building up new donors and potential donors to help support that capital campaign. So it is interwoven, it is kind of complicated, but I have full confidence in Steve's ability to lead these. So, and they're doing a really good job.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Trish, I
Great.
saw you come off mute there when we were talking about pediatric therapy. Did you have something to add for me there?
No, I just wanted to clarify. I think you said May 3rd, and I just wanted to clarify for folks that it was May 2nd was the champagne brunch.
That's
Oh,
But
right.
yes,
thank
very
you. That's
excited
it.
about pediatric equipment.
Mhm.
I really appreciate that. That is it is Friday, and that's a typo
Friday.
Right.
in my report. So thank you for that correction. I appreciate it. We don't want
No
everybody
problem.
showing up on the wrong day. Great. Okay. All right. Those are wonderful questions. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about it. Since you got me started on fundraising, Emma, I want to share the hot off the press from Monday night. I got to attend the Rural Conference in Spokane with a couple of our team members, and Nicole Pass and Will Pan were presenters on a panel, and they got to talk about how they were able to raise funds for our breast cancer program and our mammography machine, and the way they increased our screening rates. Rural communities across the nation have some of the lowest breast cancer screening rates of all populations. And so we did a targeted campaign. So small communities, big fight, we called it. And we worked to raise screening rates for rural communities. And Snoqualmie did, even without mammography equipment, our team did a fabulous job raising our rates. But they received an award at the event and were recognized for the most funds raised in support of breast cancer awareness. And that included funds that were raised at the Champagne Brunch, as well as the grant that we received to support that. So congratulations to our team. In my CEO report next month, I will include an adorable photo of the team receiving their award. And I'll also forward the weekly that has a couple of those shots in it for you. Did a fabulous job. And that's an everybody effort. That takes the providers, it takes the MAs, it takes everybody to help get that done. Even the IT team was involved because they helped identify a way that we could use the medical record and MyChart to send out messages and encourage people to get those memos done. Okay. Make sure you take a look at the graph in my report that shows the patient satisfaction results. We are continuing to do an amazing job getting great feedback from our surveys from our community. We talked about physician recruitment. Thank you to everyone that could attend our Bold Awards. Commissioner Norris and Carter, we missed you. I know you wanted to be there. I know you did.
I've got so many kids in my basement, and this is true because we had a family that had to have places for kids, and it's gotten kind of ugly. But what do? You take care of the children.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very important job, Daryl.
Yeah.
So we really got to celebrate our team and our staff, and it was just heartwarming to recognize just some of the outstanding performances that our team does, that they go above and beyond every single day. And it was very fun to get to have a special event for them, which will now become an annual event that our other team members can look forward to as well.
Yeah.
On the legislative front, I am more of a politician than a CEO this month, and working in both the state and federal with some requests for support for our hub project. And so we are very, very hopeful that we can receive some funding to help support infrastructure and equipment are our two different asks for that. So, and those of you that have been helping me either advising in the background or with letters of support, thank you. Both mayors of Snoqualmie and North Bend have been fabulous in providing letters of support for us to go along with these requests. So it's definitely a community effort.
Yeah. Great job, Renee, and by all that's been helping out. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And also a shout out to CFO Ritter. Man, he has just been an amazing partner in helping me. We literally continue to say we're digging in the couch cushions, and he might be writing a $10,000 grant here, or helping with some language on a $1 million grant over there. And he's just been a wonderful partner to tag team all this crazy stuff. And it requires a lot of work on his part because he's having to pull a lot of data and statistics to support these requests. But I think between the two of us, we'll be successful. And I'm looking forward to continuing to share some good news about some of those grants we've been applying for. And I think, Patrick, when you get to your CFO report, I'll let you share that there was one in particular that was funded, that I believe was funded, or will be hopefully, for the hub or for the North Bend Clinic. And lastly, before I ask for any other questions, we were celebrated at the Best of the Valley Awards night, thanks to the Snoqualmie Valley Chamber. And Dr. Nita Jane was awarded the Best Pediatrician. So you'll shout out to her.
That's surprising.
I know, she's fantastic. But also we recognize Dr. Roxanne Hicks and also Rachel Roberson for their great work in our community as well. And the team got to go out and represent Snoqualmie and celebrate. It was a fabulous event, and we were very thankful to be invited and recognized. Yeah. There will be a blood drive coming up. If anybody wants to go to the Encompass breakfast, Steve Wright is hosting some spots and has some tickets if you'd like to join him. And then appropriately under the upcoming events, May 2nd for the Champagne Brunch. So, all right, lots going on. Any questions about any other operational things or things you want to know more about?
I guess the North Bend, when is it going to be in full service?
Great question. Right now, Emma, we're looking at probably September. I think that it's kind of if some things come together early, we have some construction timelines that we think we might be able to crunch and get it done a little bit sooner. If we have trouble getting product because of tariffs or delays of product availability, that could push it a little bit later into the fall. But we have, like, September is just really what we're targeting right now, because a lot of those physicians that Dr. Storm mentioned are contracted and ready to sign or ready to start then. So we're going to need it. Yeah,
sounds good. Thank you.
Good.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Okay, you want to go into the dashboard now?
Yep. If there's no more questions on operations, we can move into the dashboard. I'll have Ashley put that up. Thank you. So we are tracking good. We had February was not as good as the month of January for us, but still tracking above budget and on target for our financial goal. Our outpatient visits continue to be strong, thanks to Will and his team, and lab and radiology. They're all doing their part, and those outpatient visits are tracking on target. North Bend is on target to get open by the end of 2025, so that one is good. System of choice, we are down a teeny tiny bit from 92.5 to 92.1, but still well above our target and maintaining those patient satisfaction scores. And on our team, this one last month, there was a little bit of confusion and we wanted to make sure the data was correct, but we're 32% for average turnover rate. And this is all turnover. So we had originally proposed to do just first year turnover rate, but Emma, you had asked some questions about this and about total turnover and tracking. And so instead of just making that micro bit of that first year turnover, we did expand it to include all turnover. But we are going to keep the metric the same because of the numbers, it's relatively consistent at that 32%. So this will be a rolling composite average. So it'll be a 12-month rolling average. By the time we get to December, that'll represent all of 2024. But right now you're seeing a rolling average with 2 months of 25 and, sorry, I misspoke earlier, 2 months of 25 and the rest of those in 24. But by the time we get to the end, it'll be all year to date. So we are.
Which is 30% right now. Is that right?
Correct. Yep, that is correct.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so no questions or concerns for me on this. I feel like we're early, but still on track and doing well.
Good. Thank you. Mr. CFO Patrick Ritter, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Haugley. Talking first here, we will go into finances for year to date. You could see it in your packet there of what the committee agenda was. taking a look at the financial statement, that page there, Ashley, just below the agenda. I don't know if you can blow it up a little bigger. Great. We can see that. So as Renee said, February was not as strong as the month of January. There's a couple of short days. We had providers that were out some days. We had a little bit less volume in the emergency room, not much less, but just a tiny bit less. It was still, but as you can see, year to date, revenues are still above budget in all of the areas, actually, which you can see our budgeted year to date was about 16 million in revenue. We have about 20 million in revenue, gross revenues year to date. When you pull out what we have for our uncompensated care, which is our bad debt, and then our contractual allowances, you can see we have about 10 million of net revenue year to date versus a budget of 7 million. So that's about a 41% increase over what we had budgeted for so far for 2025. Taking a look at that gives us, if we scroll down just a little bit, Ashley, and then we can take a look at our expenses. Expenses are slightly above budget, just 2%. Major portion of those expenses are some of our professional expenses, as we've brought on contract work to help with the hub. So we've added some in our IT department, 2 positions for that to help with the Epic build for the hub and the project management of that, as well as we expand our services to be able to bring those Epic sources on. And then the other consultant that we have in there as well fall under those professional fee expenses. So that's why those fee expenses are a little bit higher right now. We do know, of course, that we will be able to reimburse that through the funds that we will get through the revenue bonds. So right now it's a cash expenditure, but we will be able to recoup some of those fees back later on when we get the revenue bonds. But overall expenses are pretty well under control. And you can see we had a net operating income for the year of 682,000. So that again, that's about 170-180% more than budget. So a strong position to start off the year. Any questions on those expenses, revenues?
Yeah, you should probably mention that February is a very small month as far as time.
It does. It has 3 less days.
It has quite an
January,
effect on
so
our
yes,
revenue. So.
That is part of that as well. We have 3 less days to earn revenue.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks, David.
This finance committee agenda for 3/20/2024, is that correct? At 12:30?
25.
Oh,
It
okay.
should be
good.
25.
The year was mistake. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
I
I'm
saw
looking-
that as well.
Wait a minute, this is 2024 I'm looking at. Oh, okay, thank you.
So taking a look, scroll down to the balance sheet here. The good news is we are in a strong cash position. You can see at the end of the year we had about 39 million in cash. We have about 40.5 million in cash now. So operations are driving cash, continuing to build upon that. 1 million so far this year. That puts us in a good cash position. And then if you can see the line as well in your assets, in your long-term assets, we have about $3 million in construction in progress. It's about halfway down the page there. So that's what we've spent to date so far on the hub projects, as well as a few projects for the existing hospital capital expenditures, like the EKG Mindray portions that we have as well. But overall, the assets are up 1.4 million, and that most of that is cash in 2025 so far. Any question on the assets?
I hear you clearly, Patrick. It's 40 we are up from 39 million to 45 million as of March of 2025. Is that right?
40.5 million.
Oh, 40 and a
40.5.
half.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
And liabilities. We have our current liabilities. You can see they're higher since we did get the LTGO bonds in December of this year. So our current liabilities went up about $2 million for that. We of course have the tax revenue to cover that, so that will be a wash as far as any extra expenditures go for that. So that's where most of that current long-term liability portion is. And then the total long-term liabilities are about 99 million for total liabilities of 109 million. So that puts us about $1 million over where we were at the end of December. Any questions on the liabilities?
How much more do we owe on our LTGO? I don't know if you already answered that question.
That we have the full 17 million, so we make our first payments in June, Emma, for
June.
that.
Okay.
Okay.
But we haven't spent any of that 17 million yet either. That's when we'll start spending, when we start groundbreaking in May is when we'll start to spend that LTGO money.
Mhm. And until then, we earn interest on it, correct?
We are earning interest on it, yeah.
I can give you the figures of what we will owe on all the remaining bonds if you want. Offline, if you want, Emma, I can go through that with you. I took
Okay.
a photocopy of that, so.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, David.
Thanks, Dave.
Any other questions on the balance sheet? The cash flow statement that will reflect, you can see the net cash flow from operating activities. So that's our cash that we get from performing all of our services there. You can see it's a positive cash flow of 3 million, and which is a good amount for us this far, so far. And you can see our investing activities. We have about 1.6 million in a deficit there because we've been spending that cash on our construction in progress portions. And then our financing, we have about 75,000, which is spending, which is our long-term debt expenses, interest expenses, amortized bond cost, etc. But overall, a net cash, like I said before, of about $1.3 million in 2025. All right, if there's no questions about that, we can go into the dashboards. You can see our days cash went down slightly from January to February. We will see that as we spend the cash that we have on the things that I mentioned before. The good news is our days in AR have dropped below that 55 mark. We're right around 52. So the work that the billing team and Lori and her team has put in is working with that, and TrueBridge has also added some workforce to our account to be able to help to do that. So we're continuing to see some improvements there.
Good job, Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, we've been after them for
Yeah.
a year and a half. Believe me, it's been a hard bunch of work that's been done to get that down.
It has, and we should
millions of
continue.
meetings and almost threats to these people to do something.
Oh, I threatened them. It wasn't almost threats. It was
there you go.
direct threats.
Pastor, can you get the font a little larger? These are so tiny.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you have the whole page and then you have this very tiny graphic.
Does
So
that
if you
help,
could,
Emma?
if you could increase the font size, that would be very helpful. Yes. I
Emma, those should
appreciate
be
it.
included in your packet as well.
I do have it in the packet.
Okay.
It's tiny, very tiny. It's the same as the visual. And the whole paper is, there's a lot of room for it to get the font bigger.
The next
Appreciate
move
it.
with TrueBridge is we hired a a wonderful financial counselor that's joining our team. His name is Micah, and he started a couple of weeks ago. He's going to help with the self-pay project, and we go live from taking the self-pay from TrueBridge to in-house, which we think will have a number of effects. It will help us have more direct control over our collection process, as well as providing better customer service. They're local residents here in the Valley, they know, and they will increase that that customer satisfaction that we're looking for. So we're excited about that project. That will happen at the end of April is when we will be doing that. That's when the final MyChart and everything will be built in there too, which will be another patient satisfier. They will be able to see their entire bill in MyChart at that time going forward as well, and pay their bill through that. And we're working on some things as well that'll be coming down the pipeline to be able to do payment plans through MyChart and things like that as well. So it's good progress that we're making with our investments in Epic. So we're excited about that.
Patrick, that is a real, very good customer facing ad, if you will. That's one that you hear about in the grocery store in the produce aisle about, you know, hey, you wouldn't believe how they worked with me on this, and they explained it. And now that we've got this person in house, yeah, so kudos to you and the team.
Yeah, we're excited about doing that and looking forward to that team. We're also adding a director of revenue cycle to that team as well, that will be able to help continue to work with our contract negotiations as we go forward, you know, working to with the payers in regards to the new services we're adding into the hub too. So that's going to be a big part of the rev cycle team too. So we're excited about that,
especially with the increased volume.
Yeah.
And Patrick, tell everyone how important it is to get our cash as quickly as possible during this interim period of financing this project. I mean, that's just a huge.
It is. It helps us with our debt coverage ratios. It helps us to be able to cover some of those costs in the interim, and should the market not be favorable in May when we're looking to go, it'll continue to help us bridge that gap till when the market changes more favorably to get the full $100 million, $100X million that it's going to be there. So we're looking forward to continuing to drive down those days in AR and collect those cash as quickly as possible.
Well, it's happening at the right time, the AR going down. So
yeah. So taking a look at you can see net patient service revenue went down a little bit, but again, it's above where it was the year before and right around budget. So it looks like a big steep drop when you have a fantastic month as you did in January, right? So graphs can be a little bit misleading when that happens, but still above budget on our net patient revenue, and still better than prior year. Employee salaries and wages are holding steady. Our not operating loss was a little bit in February, you can see there, but again, we had such a good January that we are still ahead in operating income year to date. And next page. So Dr. Moore usually does the visit info, so I don't have the fun stories behind everything to share with you, but you could, what I mentioned earlier, ED department, they've been doing a great job. We're still seeing over 20 patients a day, and our budget was about 16. So you can see that they're well above that blue, that purple budget line there. So still doing well in February. There's just fewer days in February to see patients, as Commissioner Spikers just mentioned. RHC visit and clinic visits are down a little bit there, but still above budget. Some of that has to do with our reporting, and we had discussion about that in Finance Committee about cleaning some of that up. We pulled that out, so in March those will be corrected, and we'll be able to see those numbers again. Urgent care as well. It's gone down a little bit. We're moving out of that upper respiratory infection season some, so less visits there. But again, the blue dots right around where it was last year and just slightly below budget there. Endoscopy, observation, and lab still doing well. Those lab tests, that will also be one that's needs to be corrected as well. They are missing the actual specimen draws included in that, so that's why that number is lower than it had been previously. So we will be adding those specimen draws in there as we build these reports from Epic, and we've had changes in the department as well. That we are fine-tuning some of those data points in there.
Got a quick question on the lab test. Why was our budget decided to be that much higher than 2024?
Yeah, great question, David. Part of it is the North Bend Clinic coming on and being able to have that, and so that's kind of smoothed out over the year rather than a spike at the end of the year when that happens. So we anticipated the lab in that increasing there, so that's why the budgets are a little bit higher there.
All right, let's get it open.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
and so with that theory in mind, we should expect to exceed those volumes above budget by year end if those providers all come on board.
Oh, definitely. The providers that are coming on, as Dr. Storm will tell you, they do order a lot of lab tests, so they will generate good revenue.
A lot of labs, a lot of imaging, a lot of revenue.
A lot of good patient care.
Exactly. Yes. That's what they do. Okay,
right.
Patrick.
Any other? So you can see the radiology volume still good. Any questions there?
I think the only thing I would note here, Patrick, is I once had an amazing CFO that told me 2 data points are not a trend. So if you're worried about the trend lines on here, don't worry about them till next month.
Yeah. Except we'll take the MRI one that's skyrocketing up there. We'll say that's a trend. All
We're
right.
talking about the radiology, something kind of a story to share here. Steve Bradshaw is our imaging manager, and they have a phenomenal team, and they have been able to increase these volumes with their current staffing. They've just absorbed those volumes into their workload and have been just being more efficient, doing a great job. And Steve Bradshaw has also offered to help out one of our other rural hospital collaboratives that lost their imaging manager and needed some direction. So he has been donating a little bit of his time to Ferry County up in Republic to help get them stabilized while they've had a huge leadership transition there. So we appreciate Steve for doing that. And if they aren't able to replace their manager soon, we may do some contract work and lend Steve to them on a little bit more regular basis. So it's kind of fun to be able to have a hospital like ours reach out and support another one that's across the state and kind of band together to make sure all of our rural communities are getting the service they deserve. So thank you to Steve Bradshaw for offering to do that.
Okay.
All
Patrick
right.
is.
Yep.
Well,
Go
so
ahead.
is
We already
that-
mentioned ED and inpatient, so we can go ahead and go down to the warrants.
Let's go down
I
to the
believe.
warrants. Okay, then we'll go into our bond presentation with Keith here following that. So with that, I'll go ahead and call for approval of the warrants for the month of
Can we
March.
see them? I have them in my packet, but
Yeah,
I think
let's
they
go
were
ahead
they
and
were
pull them up
included
if
in
you.
everybody's packet. I think Ashley
Okay,
might
all right.
not have them
Yeah.
with her screen handy.
Yeah, they're just below the bond presentation, Ashley. They're in sequence, but I'll go ahead and call for approval of the bonds for the month of March 2025 in the dollar amount of $4,931,535. Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Spikers. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Norris. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye of the approval of the bonds for March 2025 in the amount of $4,931,535. Please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? and abstaining. Motion carries. Thank you very much. With that,
Abstaining. Okay.
Keith Clevin, I would welcome you to share your great information with us. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thanks. Happy to be here. It's good to see everybody again. I don't know, Patrick, do you want me to launch, or is there anything you'd like to start off with?
I would just like to say that we had a great discussion at Finance Committee last week in regards to this. David and Kevin asked some great questions here, and so we were just ready to start filling in those numbers on the bond resolution. And so Keith can share here kind of the highlights of what we discussed at Finance Committee.
And it was pretty lengthy too, the discussion. We were on over 2 hours, so for the meeting.
I apologize again, Commissioner Spikers, for keeping you guys so long.
No, it's all right.
We had a lot of great discussion. So on the screen here in front of you are some of the materials that we went through with the Finance Committee last week. So if you could go ahead and move to the first slide and maybe back it out a little bit so I can see. Yeah, there we go. So just real quick kind of reminder of where we're at and what we're working on as a financing team right now. We're currently putting together the preliminary official statement and Appendix A. The Appendix A is really the key document that we're going to use to help sell the transaction to investors. The purpose of the document is to describe the district and describe why, you know, the hub is a good investment, and therefore the bonds associated with financing the hub are a good investment for investors. A key part of that as well is the feasibility study, which the work is ongoing on the feasibility study. That will be the key piece of information, along with demand information that was put together by Health Facilities Planning to help investors understand really the need for and the ability for the district to pay for the debt associated with the project. So those are the two things that we're working on in earnest right now. And the financing team has been going now for a couple of months on these projects. So happy to continue to keep moving those along. If we want to move to the next page, what we wanted to talk about was, you know, what a financing for a transaction of this nature, you know, kind of looks like, and it's kind of put together in building blocks. And what I'll do is I'll take you through kind of what we know and how we get to an ultimate, you know, number that we borrow for, right? So if you start on the right-hand side of the page in front of you, this is a sources and uses of funds. So we're first going to talk about, well, we need to borrow money. What are we borrowing money for? What are the uses of the funds going to be? And that's how we determine how much money we need to borrow. So the uses of funds in this case start with the project budget. So the project is budgeted, and I know there's been a lot of conversation around, you know, this budget is preliminary. There's a lot of owner contingency associated with the budget already. But the numbers that we're working from right now have a total project budget of $120.582, right? So $121-ish million. That includes the site shell and core GMPs, soft costs associated with the transaction. The land purchase, importantly, is included in this budget, as well as furniture, fixtures, and equipment. And then, as Renee has talked about before, owner contingency. So $120.5 million, that's where we start from. So we know we're going to have to borrow at least $120.5 million to pay for the project itself. Before I move on to the other things, any questions about that?
Just want to let people know there's a contingency on that of 11 million, and that's odd things that can happen. I think that is that correct on that 120?
Yes, there's 11 million in owner contingency, which covers some of those things we talked about earlier, like the stoplight, or if the cost of equipment goes up, or there's something we forgot to include. All those things come out of owner's contingency. Also, if we aren't able to get shovel and dirt in time and we have to deal with unforeseen or difficult winter weather conditions, that can also impact the cost of the project, and so that would also have to be covered by owner's contingency.
Okay, so we start with 120.5. No, sorry, can we go back to that page? I'm going to keep going through it. We start with $120.5 million. Then also with a transaction of this nature, really for any type, this is not unique to Snoqualmie Valley Hospital or the district. One thing that the bonds will have to fund is a debt service reserve fund. Now that debt service reserve fund is assumed in these numbers to be about 13 million. What that number or what those dollars are is they're dollars that belong to the district that are set aside for the purpose of making debt service payments for 1 year in the event that the district runs into cash flow issues or problems and can't make the debt service payments. So that's a security feature for investors to help convince them that, yes, this is a good credit risk. This is something that you should invest in.
But we're able to earn interest on that money the entire length of the bond transaction.
So we're only really that 13 million is basically, we're losing about a point and a half, not a 6% type of.
It's the difference between the two numbers.
It would be the difference between, we're assuming a 4% earnings rate on that, and the difference between that and what we would be able to get on the market, correct? Keith looks like he froze for a second.
Oh.
And while we wait for Keith to come back online, I can continue to take us through the use of the funds. So any questions on the debt service reserve fund?
I think we're good on that.
Okay. And then, so stepping down to the next item, it's called capitalized interest. So if you could actually just move back up, but we'll be on this slide for a little bit. So as we're the capitalized interest is as the hub project is being constructed, there obviously won't be revenues coming in to pay the interest expense that's associated with that financing from the hub project because it's still being built. So at that time when the construction is still ongoing, how we allow for bondholders to be paid is that we fund that interest expense through bond proceeds, and it's called either funded interest or capitalized interest. So when we issue the bonds, we'll have enough bond proceeds generated that it will cover the interest expense that's paid to investors through the project completion. So we used December 1st, 2026 for our target date as to when the hub will be completely up and running.
And again, if that number, those monies are not absolutely utilized, how is that treated then?
So we will solve it. So when we issue the bonds, we'll solve it down to the penny so that the capitalized interest should almost perfectly, the amount of capitalized interest that we fund with bond proceeds should almost perfectly match the amount that's necessary to pay interest expense. And what we, how we, to promote greater efficiencies as well, and take advantage of the earnings rate that the district can get on its bond funds at the moment, is we net fund that capitalized interest amount. So we do the math to see, over the 4 interest payments that as those funds sit at the district, that they will grow and accrue earnings. So that we're able to actually borrow for a little bit less to fund that capitalized interest. And as those earnings grow, that will also match the necessary interest payments. So we're able to borrow for a little bit less and use the efficiency of those earnings.
Thank you.
So just to be clear to the rest of the board, accounting isn't everyone's forte, but so the first part of the project is payments are interest only, so that we pay the bondholders during that period of time. And if the project does go past a set date, of completion, projected completion? How does that work?
So at that point in time that the district would be needing to pay that future interest expense out of cash, when we look to issue the bonds, we should have very good clarity from the district as to the expected completion of the project. And in the numbers that we're showing you here, that we built in some additional months of cushion. I think the expected timing for the hub right now is around September, October, so that we're building in an additional 2 months of cushion of interest expense in case we see, a delay in the project. And as we get closer to the actual issuance of the bonds, we'll be in close contact with Renee and Patrick to make sure that we're all lining up on the expected timing, and that building in the necessary cushion if there's a delay in construction.
So when are the payments projected to start paying off on principal? On January 1st of 27?
I think we might have it in the schedules, but to minimize the overall debt service that the district will pay on all of its revenue bond issues. So both this one, the Series 2025 issue, as well as the existing Series 2015 issue. What we do is we structure for approximately level debt service on a combined basis with both issues. So it allows, so it minimizes the impact of this new debt on constraining the district's cash flows. So the actual principal repayment for this transaction won't be until many years into the future. And I can tell you in just 1 second when we're
I thought it was only about 3 years out.
It's actually 2020, it's 2027, Frank.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's there on the slide.
Okay.
We're still wrapping around the existing debt service because this is a larger transaction, and I apologize for dropping out there. My computer exploded in front of my eyes.
We're good.
But since this is a larger transaction than one you have out there, we have aligned them, and that was part of what we had put in the finance committee packet to show that the principal payments start in 2027 for this transaction.
Yeah, that's.
And I was able to look that up while you were chatting there, Frank. So I apologize for hopping in here.
I wanted to make people aware what the structure was. So thank you.
What interest level is a capitalized interest? Does it match of what we owe or a loan?
Yeah. When we look to actually issue the bonds, that the amount funded as well as any assumed earnings will be made sure to match what the future interest payments will be on the bonds through that certain period, which is largely through the completion date of the hub project.
So with the capitalized expense, it's over a period of about 18 months or 19 months or something like that. If we're going to start the project,
right?
June 1 or what?
That the capitalized interest will be, funded from the expected closing in, as we contemplate a potential issuance in the middle of June through December 1st, 2026.
So there's no fixed interest rate. It'll be according to, it has to match whatever our loan or investment. Is that right?
Yes. So what you can think of is that at the time that these bonds are closed, that through that December 1st, 2026 interest payment, that we know exactly where the funds are coming from to pay those various interest expenses.
Right. So again, this interest, that capitalized interest, is during a period of approximately 17 and a half months. That's what we would be paying at a minimum, correct? That's our interest payment only.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
Yes. You want to take
Okay.
back over, Keith, or do you want me to keep?
Did you end at capitalized interest?
Yes.
Okay. So as we continue to build up to the amount of bonds that we need, the next line item is costs of issuance, and we have costs of issuance in here assumed conservatively. But importantly, you know, the amount that's in here is 2.5% of the total. And if you compare that back to the Series 2015 bonds, where the district built the new hospital, the cost of issuance associated with that were actually 3.2%. So we have ratcheted back the cost of issuance to a fair degree. And some of that is due to the size of this transaction. You get a little bit more economies of scale with all of the costs of issuance. But we feel confident that we can come in at that 2.5% for costs. Now, as you add all of those things up, you get to $147 million. Again, of course, 23.8 million of that are dollars that are going to be retained for district purposes, the capitalized interest and the debt service reserve fund. You can move over to the left side of the page, which is the sources of funds. So here's where all the dollars are coming from. And you look down at the bottom and the sources of funds, just like a balance sheet, matches at 147 million. So what are those sources of funds? Let's start at other. The first part of that is $17 million. We did a LTGO bond deal that closed in December of 2024. That was $17 million. Those dollars, as you heard Patrick say earlier in the call here today, are still on hand and haven't been touched and are going to be used for groundbreaking and site work up through, I think, about the middle of July, right, Patrick? Yes.
Correct.
So that $17 million is taken care of out of the 147. The next line item are those investment earnings. So on the right-hand side, we have those funds that belong to you. We're making an assumption about what you will earn on those on those funds in investment earnings, and that's $1.7 million. And then you get up to, well, what is the actual amount that we need to borrow? And so the par amount of the transaction that gets you to all of that is $131 million. So
is the cost of issuance the Piper fees?
Yep, Piper fees, bond counsel fees, accounting fees, feasibility study fees. Yeah, all of the folks associated with the transaction.
Why aren't those in the project fund deposits, uses of funds?
It's just, it's actually like a tax thing. We don't generally put them in there because you're allowed to borrow for a certain amount of cost of issuance. But honestly, it doesn't matter to me, right? We've separated them out here as not being a part of the project costs, but it's really just a math.
Does Piper get paid right at when we close on it?
Correct. And importantly, Piper does not get paid a dime until and if we close on the transaction.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You mentioned about 131. I don't see that number anywhere from there.
Up on the top left, Emma, under
Top
sources
left.
of funds.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So
Thank
that
you.
number's
Yeah,
the number that we're gonna anchor you on as
Mhm.
the par amount of the bonds, because it relates to the
131.
parameters resolution that we'll talk about here next.
Okay,
Let's go ahead and move on.
thanks.
Yep.
Okay, so you have a parameters resolution in front of you. You have had it now for about a month, I believe. 4 important metrics in that parameters resolution are the things that you will have to approve in order to allow the management team to move forward with executing on the transaction. And the first one, and an important one, is how large can the transaction be? In this case, we are conservative, right? We always like to leave cushion in the numbers. And so the maximum amount of principal amount that we would suggest that you use in your parameters resolution in this case would be $140 million. Now, if we go out to the market tomorrow, we wouldn't need that much contingency, but we are doing this parameters resolution in advance. So we need to leave room for things to change that are unforeseen between then and when we actually go out and price the bonds. So at this point in time, we would suggest around $140 million would give you plenty of conservative ability to move forward with the transaction, even though we're only planning to borrow for 131 at this point in time. Next would be the interest rate. So the board will have the ability to set the maximum interest rate by which the bonds can be executed at. Now that's a market-based thing, of course, so we want to have cushion in that number as well. But given where the market's at today, we would suggest, you know, no coupon rate larger than 7.25%, and no and the interest cost on the bonds not be higher than 7.4%. What I told the finance committee last week is that in the numbers that we used in this in the packet for them, the interest rate was actually 6.75%. So quite a bit lower than what you see on the page, but again, it's to provide flexibility in case the market moves, and there's nothing that we can do about that. Finally, the final maturity of the bonds we have in here as December 31, 2060. That's 35 years out. Right now, we're structuring the transaction as a 30-year loan. However, if we do decide to lower the debt service requirements up front on the transaction to help with that ramp-up period that you're going to need as you recruit more physicians, it may make sense to do a 35-year final maturity to make up for that and ease the cash flow requirements right away. So we've put a maximum maturity of 35 years from today. And then the project plan is what's in the resolution that you would be approving. So any questions?
We'll have the call feature as well, 10 years if I remember correctly.
Wow.
Yes, the call feature is expected to be 10 years. Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Moving forward. And I'll try to continue quickly. So aggregate debt service, this is the entirety of the debt structure that the district currently has. We wanted to put this in here just so you have the numbers. The Series 2025 bonds, of course, are all the way on the left. And what we've done, and the reason that we've included this is, as we mentioned before, you see on the Series 2025 new money bonds, the debt service requirements on those are about 8.8 million. Excuse me. All the way up and through 2045, when the majority of all of your other debt has matured, then we increase the requirements related to the Series 2025 bonds, so that in total your payments are as low as possible up front. Excuse me again. I'm going to grab a glass of water or a drink of water. So the total debt service requirements are provided on this page. If there's any questions, please don't hesitate, but we can move on. Okay, so where are we at in the timeline? Again, we've been working on this for a few months, and in fact, talking about it for a year at this point. But we're working on the preliminary official statement, Appendix A, and the documents associated with it. We're here at the board meeting this week. Next week, the audit will be issued, which is a key point that we're going to be able to provide that for investors before they purchase the bonds. Next month, we're going to ask for the approval of the parameters resolution at the levels that you deem appropriate with our guidance, of course. And then the Shell and Core GMP is due on May 19th. So our goal would be to first determine whether or not we're going to enter the market right after that May 19th date that we have the Shell and Core GMP. Now, GMP is a very important thing, but the Shell and Core are the majority of the cost associated with the project. So we're going to take a look at the market at that point in time and determine whether or not that's enough certainty to move forward. And if we have enough certainty and investors believe in the story enough, we'll go ahead and price. However, there is a world where we have to wait until we get to the GMP deadline for the tenant improvements. So that's what this would look like.
Can you define that acronym GMP again, please?
Guaranteed maximum price.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Keith, while you're catching your breath there for just a second, I just want to say a couple of things that I really appreciate, and I think the board does as you begin to look and understand these numbers. On the slide deck, the prior one that has the Series 2025 aggregate net debt for service for the district, I think this is really important to understand the cash flow needs as you go through these different debt repayments on these different bonds that we have. So it really gives us a whole snapshot, and then mirroring all the way to the right as you look at the cash flow demands on the district as you go through, and you can see how it starts out and then it grows with the growth of services and revenue through operations. And then as you get to the later years of it, the last 10 years of that, it levels out at the $12 million amount. And then you look at your timeline here and your financing timeline presentation. I really appreciate that because it really lets the certainly the rest of the board, but the public understand what is our flow of this process. And thank you very much for breaking it down the way that you do.
No problem. I think this was my last slide. Is that right?
I think so. And Keith, just jumping in to remind the board that we're giving you a lot of information, but we're bringing it every single board meeting. It's also going to the finance committee meeting. But what we're really leading up to is next month and passing that parameters resolution. So that will keep us on track and on time. You've seen all of the detail and the why behind the parameters resolution, and we'll be ready for approval.
Mm-hmm.
So speak now if there's any questions or more information you want. Want anything the finance committee to dig into, let us know.
So I kind of would like to, not have that maximum bond outlay of 140 million. That just, I'd rather have a little bit less than that, a $5 million or, $4 million with, we can always have that contingency fund available too within this. So I'm wondering what
So David, the purpose of the parameters fund, so our goal is to issue as little as possible. And that contingency fund is included in that total amount. But this is just basically saying, Renee and Patrick, we do not want it to exceed that at all. But Patrick and I are incentivized greatly to have that be as little as possible. And as we get a little bit closer to issue, some of those things that are unknown now will be becoming more clear, like cost of development, or once we get the actual GMP. And so we'll have better idea of exactly what it's going to be. Keith has just provided a very high level, like very conservative. Even as we were looking through, I saw his budget and he has the original price of the property in there, which has already been negotiated lower than what's in there. So this number will come down. He's just trying to give us some bumpers.
Yeah, I realize that, but I don't want a 40 or 35 year length on payments. We've got a lot of payments to make up here, and I would like to see our debt, somehow be paid off as quickly as possible.
Well, that's the beauty of the callability of it too, Dave.
It's also good debt, right? Because this isn't debt that's paying for operations or keeping the lights on. This is debt that's generating revenue, bringing new services to the community. This is the responsible kind of debt for a hospital to have. And then also, fortunately for us in our position and our reimbursement status, some of this debt is actually recoupable with our cost report.
Cost base, yep.
So those are my two comments about the parameters, but I think the interest rate's going to be less than 7%.
Which will also help that total amount, right, David?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
the contingency fee, the land fee. I mean, just I know you realize this, David. These are bumpers, right? They're maximum bumpers to go up against.
But this rate, we have a diligence study, basically the feasibility study, that says that even at 7.25%, we're going to be all right. Is that right?
Patrick, do you know, I don't know off the top of my head what the assumed loan rate in that feasibility was.
It's the same as we used for our numbers in all the cash flows that you saw here tonight.
Keith gave him the maximum numbers that we're talking about now for DZA to plug into the feasibility. So they are what we are assuming here.
As I recall, there was 2 different figures or 3 different, depending on what the interest rate was and the length of the loan, or length of the bond, I should say. So
so that's been more refined. What we will actually get a updated feasibility tomorrow.
Oh, good.
From DVA with these numbers that they've put in there.
Mhm.
I can also tell you hot off the press, Moss Adams issued tonight the audited financials.
Thank you.
So we are on target for everything in that way. So we will have feasibility. They will share it with me and Renee to take a look at, and go and Piper to review that feasibility and punch holes in it. And we will have it available to you to look at as soon as we do that, next week sometime. So yeah.
Thank you, Patrick.
I know we have I've had a lot of questions, Keith, and like I said, I always apologize for as many questions as I have, but I think it's really important to be transparent and know exactly what we're doing. And
Yeah.
those of us that are really not accountants, it's hard to pick up some of this. And we're
No,
just trying to
good
do our
stuff,
best
and
to
plan for the
follow it
worst and expect
understand
certainly the best, and we got a lot of good things going on coming together here. So very good. Okay. With that, Keith, I think thank you very much for being here this evening, you and your colleague, and great job, and good luck with that cough.
Yeah, I'll try to get some rest this weekend. It's been nagging me for about 3 weeks now, but have a good night.
Let's see here.
All right.
Thanks all.
Following our agenda, just as a reminder to the rest of the board that we'll be taking a vote on this next month, and certainly feel free to reach out to David and myself and the rest of the team with any questions that anybody has on this. Real exciting time for all of us. It's obviously quite a project, a lot of new employees, a lot of operational functionality in the whole thing, obviously. And just think of the lives we're going to touch with all the services we're going to bring to the valley.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call for commissioner comments. I see my system is trying to kind of tell me I have poor network quality. I'm not sure if everybody, can you still hear me?
We can hear you.
You're good.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. Maybe you wish you couldn't, but I guess you can. So with that being said, I'm going to call on Commissioner Carter for any commissioner comments you'd care to share with us this evening.
Thanks, everyone. I've been quiet tonight because I think that Keith and I have the same cold, and so I've been struggling with that a little bit. First of all, I want to thank Councilmember Kat Cotton for joining us tonight. We really appreciate your support and your partnership throughout all of this. So, really appreciate you taking the time. I had the pleasure of rounding with Trisha and Renee earlier this month, and it was an absolute pleasure to get to visit with the ED staff and with the staff at the lab. And it's just so great to walk the floor and to actually hear from our people that, this was my first choice. I've left other places to come work here. It's such a huge change from what we had 5-6 years ago and before that. So it's amazing. So thank you so much for that. And David, especially you, thank you very much for your rigor in all these questions about the bond. Like you said, we're not accountants. I'm certainly not an accountant. I really count on you and your fine-toothed comb and your tenacity. So thank you for that very, very much. Even though it might feel painful for you to have to do that, a lot of us rely on it. So thank you. Thanks, everyone. And congratulations, Dr. Storm. I can't wait to see all this new staff you're bringing in. Great job.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Carter. Commissioner Norris.
I don't know what to say. I just jumped in a while ago, and for me, I finally got to see and hear you folks, because I couldn't do that so easily. And I have children here that are not mine, and so that puts some pressure on. And I have just a book. I had to make some choices. So that's what it goes.
Yep.
And
Very
I
good.
appreciate all of you. I really do. I think you're some nice, good people that know what we're going up to.
Thank you, Commissioner Norris. Commissioner Herron. Oh, you're muted. Still muted. There you
Okay.
go.
There you go.
Hi.
There you go.
Sorry.
You're good.
I thought it's always exciting to hear all the different projects that we have put forward, and I'm can't wait till North Bend, the pre-hub, opens up in September, because the increase in our patient visits there will determine the successful flow of our outreach into the new hub. So that would really be exciting, because one of my dream was to see that our hospital has a lot of patients coming in and really supporting our hard effort to deliver quality health services, that they are going to continue to come and support us. So it's good to see that we have that increase in the numbers and the volume. So that's where I would be more excited to see how our North Bend site, our pre-hub, would look like. Thank you. And thanks for all the good work that for all the people that are involved in the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Herron. Commissioner Spikers.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Storm, for your chase and capture of some great, amazing talent that I think is going to reflect what we do, quality services for people in the Valley. And that's what it really, really boils down to. I don't care how much money you spend or anything. If you've got good quality people and you give great care, they will come. They will use our facilities. And that's what I'm excited about most. And everybody out there will continue to make sure that we keep an eye on all of the financial things that are important to us. But just be diligent, everybody. Ask those questions. If you don't understand, ask more questions, and call Kevin, call me. I have no problem talking to anybody, the other commissioners. So it takes work, and you really got to ask questions to be able to understand everything that we're going to be doing. And I'm very excited, and that's about it. So
Hard to contain yourself, Dave. Thank you, Dave. Great comments by everybody. Great presentations tonight from the team, our bond counsel, just everybody. There's a tagline by one of our colleagues, Robert Agresino, and I don't know if he's still on the call here with us, but yeah, he is. And he has a little tagline, and I've done quite a bit of work in past years with Robert on different campaigns. And he has a little tagline that makes a lot of sense to me. And if I remember correctly, it says something in the order of do your own research, do your own homework, and ask your questions. And we're certainly here as the Finance Committee. We take the information, we digest it, we try to ask good questions that are meaningful, that anticipate the unanticipated, and get the answers so that we come to the table and we're going to have a realization of these dreams and all the work come true, and through the service of our citizens and our communities that support us so much. And we're going to touch a lot of lives. And I have to say in closing that I received a fantastic, I don't know if this shows, but it's a really nice, it may not show, it's a really nice card from the team. And I just wanted to say personally, thank you very much. It was my birthday yesterday, and it's really a nice card. Thank you. It meant a lot to me. And everybody have a fantastic week. Next month's going to be a big month for us. It's going to be historic. And have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Have a good weekend.
all right,
Thank
bye.
you. Happy
Bye.
birthday, Mr. Chairman.
Take care.
Belated happy birthday.
Take care,
Happy
everybody.
birthday.
39 again, right?